You're watching Breakfast Central on News Central. It's time for some sports, and let's go straight to the road to Cote d'Ivoire 2023. That's what we're focused on. Yes, it continued with matches from teams in groups A, C, D, H, and K on Thursday for the African Cup of Nations qualifiers. Cameroon was to play Kenya in their opening match last weekend, but the game was called off for the Harambee Stars, still under FIFA suspension. But the Indomitable Lions remained focused and started their journey with a win away against a Burundi side, which started off the qualifiers with an away draw against Namibia. Elsewhere, 10-man Mali came from a goal down to beat South Sudan 2-1 in a game played at the St. Mary's Stadium in Kitende, Uganda. In the other games played on Thursday, teams in Group D continued their campaign without star forward Mohamed Salah. Egypt was stunned by Ethiopia at the Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe, losing 2-0 in their second match of the qualifiers. Salah missed the game due to injury, and his absence was felt. His first half goes from Dawa Hotessa and skipper Shemeles Bekele, and Ethiopia a well-deserved victory. Elsewhere, the General Lassana Conte Stadium in Conakry, Naby Keita scored late into added time as host Guinea beat Malawi 1-0 to storm to the first victory in the qualifiers. The game seemed to be headed for a draw until Keita struck the winner for the home side, and in a well-deserved win after putting in the pressure and looking more hungry. Yes, the victory for Guinea meant them to move third in the standings below Malawi, with all teams in groups sitting on 3 points. And not too long ago on the screen, you saw the Super Eagles of Nigeria as well. In Group A, they staged the first comeback to defeat a difficult Sierra Leone side in their opening Group A game of the 2023 African Cup of Nations qualifiers on Thursday in Abuja. So many games were played, but you know what? Goals from Alex Iwobi and Victor Osimhen saw the Super Eagles counsellor Jonathan Mose's lead to record a 2-1 victory on the new coach Jose Posero at the Moshi Labiola National Stadium. Let me quickly bring in, joining us this morning all the way from, you could say, the international community, one who is indeed a pan-African football commentator. Let's bring in Andrew Olsson, who joins me. Good morning to you, Andrew. Thanks for being here on Breakfast Central.
Good morning, Joe. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. All right, Andrew, let's take a look at some of the games that were played yesterday at the qualifiers. So far, so good. Which of the games would you say actually tickled your fancy and made you say, oh, wow, this is indeed a good result and a good game?
Well, I think you have to start with Ethiopia defeating Egypt. I think Egypt coming into the match, no Mohamed Salah, no Trezeguet. It looked certainly like a match that might be susceptible to an upset, and Ethiopia really came out there and took it to them. Excellent result for the Warriors.
Well, Group K, having 2021 runners-up Egypt, seem to have all 4 teams sitting on 3 points if you take a look at the table. But what teams do you actually tip to break the deadlock?
Well, I think you certainly have to keep Egypt in mind. I think once they get Mohamed Salah back, more rested, after a long European season with Liverpool, I think Egypt is always a team that you have to consider to be towards the top. But I think Ethiopia really showed some naysayers wrong. I think Ethiopia is a team to watch. They always play a beautiful brand of football. And I think they might have a decent shot, though they cannot host home matches currently. They certainly made Malawi their home yesterday, and I think they're a team to watch as well as Egypt.
Interesting. Well, in Group A, Nigeria picked their first win under new coach Jose Pesero after 2 losses from international friendlies played. I mean, with the team's performance yesterday, will you say the Eagles have a better reform playing style, or it's still a work in progress? We all know it's a work in progress, but what you saw, do you think they will get there on time?
Well, I think they have a good draw this time around. The group is pretty favorable to them, and I think they got off to a good start under Pesero. They played some difficult matches. The results did not go ideally in the United States, but I think they showed some good signs, and I think they carried that over into Sierra Leone. They have Victor Osimhen back in the lineup, and I think this is that's something that's going to come together for the Super Eagles over time, and I think having a favorable group will really give Pesero a good opportunity to get the team to gel and come together more.
All right. Let's look at South Africa. South Africa in Group K lost in their first ever meeting against Morocco for the qualifiers. What is your verdict after the 2-1 result?
Well, South Africa's Bafana have been a team that are rebuilding under Hugo Broos. He's looking to bring in younger players. And I think there were a lot of positive signs. They got off to a good start, obviously, but there's still a long way to go for Bafana. I think Bruce will continue to bring in the young players. They need a little more experience playing together, I believe. But I think Morocco in the end was a team that just overpowered them. A lot of quality in the midfield. And I think that's what we saw over time after they took the early deficit, Morocco.
Well, having watched all these teams, Andrew, which team can you pick now to say this team is a certain they will make it to the AFCON competition?
Well, I think after 2 matches, this is the time where fans either get overly confident or overly panic. I think a few teams have really established themselves. I think you see Morocco had a really good response to going down early. I think teams like Mali coming back against South Sudan and winning while a player down. I think they look very good. I think Burkina Faso as well. I think in Algeria as well, a team that's also been rebuilding with younger players after the disaster of 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifying. So I think a lot of it's the usual suspects, but there's still a lot to be determined over the next months in September when the next fixtures come up.
All right. Well, still a lot to be determined. I want to say thank you so much, Andrew, for joining us all the way from the United States as we have taken a look at some of the biggest games played just yesterday for the African Cup of Nations qualifiers.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
All right. So that's what we have here on Sports this morning on a Friday for Breakfast Central. Aside again, Olive, I'm sure that you're also reading with the fact that the Super Eagles did win their game yesterday, beating, of course, no other. What I'm going to talk about is that tactical change that we did see there in the play. If you indeed saw that game, you would see that there was a slight change here and there. Hopefully, let's see if the team will grow into it and they will be able to make it work. And that's exactly what we're looking forward to see. Well, back to you guys.